Hello, everyone. Coach Cat here. And today I'm going to be doing Coach's Corner, where I'm going to be talking about the character of integrity. Um, Integrity, being a man after your own word. So today there's a lot of people, making empty promises, kind of putting up false fronts and things like that. But for us to be a better team, for us to succeed more on the field, we need to learn what it means to be men and women of integrity. So I have 4 points that I'm going to be going over that help us to understand what being someone of integrity means. So the number one is, do not make a promise or commitment you can't keep. I see that a lot, and I see that a lot with parents and things like that, that sometimes we make a lot of commitments or promises and we don't ever follow through with them. And I say this, it is better not to make a promise at all than to make a promise or a commitment that you're not willing to uphold. So understand that. Be careful about the commitments and promises you make. Because if you aren't able to withhold them or uphold them, then they could be more damaging when you fail at those commitments. It's better if you just don't make them at all. I use an example. If a child is his father tells his child, hey, we're going to spend time together tomorrow, and then the next day comes, he goes, sorry son, I'm busy, how about the next day? The more that father lets down that commitment of spending time with his son, the more it's going to hurt his son. Now that father may have other commitments he has to uphold to, like his job and other things like that. So it's better if he finds a commitment that he can actually stick to, or that he's willing to make the sacrifice that he needs to uphold that commitment. So number one, do not make promises or commitments you can't keep. Be careful about the promises and commitments you make, right? And that leads to number two, follow through with your commitments, even if it means extra sacrifice. I'm going to tell you this, and I'll tell you this again. Every time we make a commitment, it usually costs more than we initially expected, right? I've seen that in my own life. When I say, hey, I'll help you out, and I find out it takes a little more commitment than I thought it was, and I had to sacrifice a little bit more than I thought it was going to mean to sacrifice. So now when I make commitments, I know, okay, if I'm making this commitment, I know I may have to sacrifice more than I originally think. So understand that. Number one, when you be careful with the commitments you make, but number two, understand that if you make a commitment, you got to honor it. And that's what a man of integrity does. He honors his commitments. So as football players, as students, as children of families, as people in the community, honor your commitments, even if it means taking that extra sacrifice and being hard. Find the strength to follow through with your commitments. Because think about this, men who, they may not have many commitments, but who follow through their commitments are much more successful than people that make commitments but never follow through with them, right? My third point is something I call words of vapor versus words of diamond, okay? Vapor is, it's just air. It has no weight to it, and it just vanishes when it's spoken, right? But words of diamond, they have value, they have weight to it. I love the word gravitas in the Greek, and it means having weight to it. That means that it's solid, right? And that's what I want to encourage you is to not just have words of air, empty meaning, words that don't mean anything, but actually have words that mean something, right? And that can also be said if you are speaking a lot of words, and I have to learn this myself, be careful that you're not just saying a lot of things and not backing it up, but let your words be solid. I'll use an example like, oh man, I'm the strongest guy in the gym. I'm the most hardest working guy, right? Well, you're just speaking words of air, right? Even if you are the strongest guy in the gym, you want to make sure that you're not speaking that all the time because that's still words of air. You want to lead it by action, and you want your words to mean something, not boast about yourself, not things like that. I'll use an example of something that can make words more have more gravity, and that could be complimenting someone or making a commitment with someone that you're actually willing to follow through with, right? So be careful that you're not just talking too much, boasting about things and saying things that aren't true, right? But having words that have gravity to it. I'll use an example. Hey man, do you want to go get some extra work in? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, right? Well, that's actual gravity because what you're saying is what you're actually willing to do. But hey, dude, like, let's go get some extra work in. Okay, yeah, let's do that right now. Oh, dude, I was just kind of saying that, right? That is just words of vapor, words of air. So you want to be careful that you don't just say things because you want to say them, but you're not actually willing to follow through with what you're saying. So again, we want to have words of diamonds, right, that have value to it, that have meaning behind it, that have weight behind it, versus just having words of vapor that just vanish away as soon as they come out of our mouth. Now, the fourth one is be honest. Nothing is heavier than truth. Truth is the most solid ground that you can stand on. So I say this, be honest in all you do. If you create a false front, if you are saying false things, if you are saying things that don't have evidence behind them, that aren't truth, that don't have weight behind them, you're going to be humiliated, whether it's now or later. If you're being dishonest, if you're cheating people, if you're saying things that aren't true, you're going to be humiliated. And people can see through that behind your back, right? Now, it may be harder because sometimes we may not have as much, we may not look as good as we want to look, right? We actually have, every one of us has a lot of flaws about us, right? But it's better to be honest in them than to try and cover them up with lies. And that's what I'm saying is being a man of integrity also means being able to allow people to see the vulnerabilities about yourself, to see the flaws about yourself. A man of integrity will own honestly the things that he struggles with in order, because that's how he becomes stronger, and he can stand on solid ground. Because if you're honest about what you struggle with before people reveal it to you, then it's a lot less humiliating. So again, the world is full of scales, right? But being a man of integrity means being a man that has weight to you. And we can shift the scales of life and actually change this world if we're men of integrity that deal in honesty. So I'm going to go over the 4 points again. Number 1, do not make promises or commitments you can't keep, especially marriage. So that's why you want to be careful when you go into marriage. Number 2, follow through with your commitments, promises, right? If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you make a commitment to someone or to something, follow through with it, right? Words of vapor versus words of diamonds, right? Don't just say things to say things, right? Let your words actually have meaning. Let what you say be attached to what you're willing to do. And that will probably make you speak a lot less. I know that is for me, right? And number 4, be honest. Be honest, right? Build your life on truth. So thank you guys so much for watching, and let's be people of integrity. Thank you.